time in the market will outplay time, especially if you're just learning. That's why I said this should always just be the small part. Learn the nuances with a little bit. Hold the good projects. Take these 20s, 40s. Some of these have been 84% beam. Hello. Right? Stacks. Hello. We have talked about the while it's been consolidating. I'm waiting for the next little bit more of a pullback and I'll load up the bags again. You're always looking for that perfect entry for the long term. You could be standing on the sidelines for the whole damn game. Hey, how's everybody doing? Counter Crypto Pope for Not Financial Advice, fucking course. This is kind of like a special market crash. We're not going to stick to just Monday and Fridays when things are going on, especially if you're following our trades or if you've been learning along with us. But once again, it is not financial advice, fucking course. It's in our name. It is our name. And I have a unique way of just kind of looking at the markets and the money flow and how I make my trades. I do this for a living, full disclosure. If you're in our Discord, my trades that I post in there are all in the altcoin chat at the moment. And we dig into how we get into our trades by how the money enters and leaves the total market cap of crypto. Obviously, we can't predict black swans, and if you have been following for a while, we said this moment could come not by war, but more by possibly the halving and just fast liquidations. We have a short and talk about how money can move as fast as it does in this market, and if you're playing for the long term, you just got to have thick skin, and none of these pullbacks really matter. I mean, even since our last pullback, I think at my max, I was down at about 23, 24%. I told everybody I'm not selling. I'll be rebuying those positions. And I think they're only down about 12 now. And we talked yesterday on those positions of what we wanted to see to be healthy. And I had a quick glance before jumping on with you now, a deep dive. And they are kind of playing out what we talked about and what we wanted to see. But before we get into the trades and before I ever trade, I always look at the money and where is the money and how is the money flowing. And I said today in a tweet, today is an important day. Why is today important? Well, it's the end of the weekly candle. So here is our new data on the total market cap on a fresh weekly candle. And we're definitely holding very weak support resistance in this area and resistance here. And when I say weak, I mean, I don't think we can find a smaller candle body with massive wicks. I think it's called a pin body. I can't remember. Somebody will correct me and I'll be wrong. And if you do have any questions, you can always just ask me. I can actually see the comments because I'm streaming from my battle station today. And if you have a token you want me to look at after I get through our trades, I'm in no hurry. I have nowhere to go. And a little later tonight, I'm going to do another hunt because it's in these times where we find opportunity. But this next little bit here, this probably hour, will be dedicated to the trades that I posted in our Discord. Or that have been recorded on YouTube and maybe been following along. So on the weekly, when we zoom out and look at the total market cap on the weekly, it's actually not bad. And probably, unpopular opinion, we kind of needed a cool off. Now, on the weekly, our stochastic here at the bottom says it's still going to come down a bit, which will make sense. I think we are still going to have some downward action a bit. Not much, but a little more. I think the fear, the panic has gone, but we've had a great comeuppance, which means people are going to sell off, take some profits. And these are the typical positions where I like to find my entries. So on the weekly, it's showing a little bit more downward action, but we have great spread on our NFA indicator, micro bear, micro bull. And that's this inner one here. It's our version of an EMA cross, basically, with my numbers in it. And we know in any market there's always ups and downs, and these signal the differences between those little ups and those little downs for the time frame of the candles that you're on. These strategies, these tools work just as the same as if you're trading, as if you're also looking at the total market cap of anything. So it's really quite interesting when we start to apply a little TA, our tools, and a little common sense to what we think can happen with our trades. I started with the short. We're never going to time them perfectly. And you're not. You're never going to time the bottoms. You're never going to time the tops. That's where strategy comes into play. If we absolutely know that, then let's position ourselves to take advantage when we make those mistakes. Or black swans and the markets dive. We had a lot of indications that the market was about to go up. I mean, I waited for about a week and a half to re-enter to find a whole lot of the belly of the bears. And then, tragedy happened. So if we look at the weekly micro cap or total market cap on the weekly, we can see a nice cup and handle formation here. And that's a very bullish pattern. We've been seeing this pattern through a lot of tokens. How we got into a ton of tokens this January that just rocketed. If you've ever watched when I stream the hunts, we've had tokens with thousands of percent returns, 100% returns. It's been absolutely fabulous. So we still are firing critical greed on our critical greed indicator. We're in the cool off here. I think we'll lose it because it is the first day of the week candle. And I think we'll start to lose that critical fear as the week goes on. So we're in a nice bullish pattern still. It's saying that it is still uncertain, that money on the weekly may leave a bit, and we may get some wicks. Like, let's be honest, we may be dipping down into these low twos, and we'll look at that more as we zoom in. So on the daily, we can clearly see where our micro bear hit. And we talked about how it may hit here. And this was actually, right around when we were looking for this bottom of the belly. We did our entries, went up, and then this happened. Kind of cool because at the end of the day, now you can see you don't need to panic. The sky isn't falling. And how do we do it as responsible traders to come back and turn these downtimes into profit? We've already had a few people tell us they bought some nice dips at really good buys, and they rode this up. I'm expecting to see a little red here. And when we were talking about the lines yesterday, this was our retest candle. We made it. Now we're going to pull back. And this is where I want to find my entries. And this is why I told you I was going to be patient. Why? Because we just had, 11 and a half, 11.3% gains. People are going to take profit from that in the last couple of days. But the important thing here is to mellow this belly out. We drew this line yesterday, and we're going to see a bunch of them. And I'll start to try and line it up now where I think this will actually start to play out. And we're in this consolidation box that we've left. Now, will we maybe have throughout the hours of the day some pullback into this area where there's a support and resistance all in this 2.27 area? Probably. It would make sense. And I'm not going to panic if it does. In fact, this is where I'm hopefully going to hit some of my entries that we're going to make. So it would make sense. And I'm going to drop a horizontal line here because we're probably going to cover this this recovery of the crash a little more than just our regular stuff we do. We walked through this one in our Discord, and we turned this into profits. Turned this into profits and then got out. And then we entered just before the crash, which does happen. So let's figure out how to maximize. When we zoom in a little more, it really starts to show you the bigger picture over the last bit of time of how much direction and movement we've had to the upside. So it makes sense to have some pullback. Our micro bear bull indicator, in this case, obviously a micro bear, is starting to curl. And this is what I always like to see when I'm looking for entries. It's a little more risk than just waiting for the bullish cross to play when the market's going to go in the up direction. But this is where you can get juicy entries. With our other indicators, the Bollinger Bands, we have a red out and a green in. Now, this is an ugly green out in between here, and it's also colored by our critical fear, which makes sense that in that area for the total market cap, there was a lot of fear in the market. Well, to me, sometimes in that fires, it's kind of like a no shit Sherlock, because in 5 days, we had $520.89 billion leave. So $500 billion. And we were fighting to get to the, twos not too long ago. So to think that half of it left, or $500 billion left in less than a week, that's definitely been punishing for some people that have been in trades. And then this is where now we try to capitalize on. If you were playing strategy, never go all in. Even with these trades we're going to take today to better these positions we're in, we're not going all in. We don't have, nobody has a crystal ball, in times like this, when it is war and political garbage, for lack of a better word, an event can send a market in a direction. So play smart. Don't play more than you can afford to lose. But all that always being said, there's still sensible ways to play it and use the tools to do it. So when we zoom in on the 2 hour of the total market cap, you can start to see where I'm talking, this belly of our micro bear starting to form, and we're hopefully going to get this bullish cross soon. And this is what the position I really wanted to wait for, but I kind of want a little more on the 4 hour than I do the 2 hour, because then we can start to see, in this case, money flowing back into the market. I get excited about the red because we need to make a higher low. We're coming close to a micro bull switch, but in our stochastic up here, we're in a position where it says profits are going to be leaving. And typically in that case, or money is going to be leaving. And typically in that case, it does. And we go down a bit, which would also make sense, because when we do from our critical low to our current, or our all-time high, not all-time high, our localized high there was 10% in 6 days, 222 billion. So yeah, some is going to come out. Then we need to level off, and then we need to take our next step up, which, guess what? Probably to be around this 2.373 in there trillion. And this is where we'll catch our next ride up in alts and in the market for our percentages to make up for this loss. This is where we're buying with a little more security. What I want to see is this here was resistance, the 2.27 trillion. We need to make sure that stays as support now to ensure that money looks like we're going in the other direction. If we get that, and we have 44 minutes on the 2 hour, it's a very good sign. I want to see it, like I said, on a slightly higher time frame, and it looks right now that we will get this. A little bit of pullback would be nice, and then hopefully this narrows, and then off to the races. In times of great movement, when it comes to the market cap, I'm more watching for confirmation on the fours. I will make my moves and my trades on the lower time frame, but I'm definitely looking at our daily and 4 hour quite frequently. So for right now, I'm expecting a little bit of money to pull back, just like it is, because we've had some good up and there is a whole lot of uncertainty going on. So what does it mean? Dominance is going back up, which means probably ultra red. Let's have a quick look at Bitcoin. So I think it was in this drop here, we gave two entrances for Bitcoin, um, and both hit. We talked about yesterday how we'll probably see, and I mentioned this in the Discord, we'll probably see some chop. And this is kind of what chop is right here. It's just this big up, big down, big up, big down. But it needs to hold certain lines. And yesterday we said we wanted to hold this bottom of this inner consolidation because we can see it becomes resistance here, resistance, but it also has been support. So that price point is at 68,771. And we really want it to hold for support at 65,211. Otherwise, it does these big quick dips downs where you might get a stink bid entry. And be able to go from there. So right now, Bitcoin is doing what we wanted it to do. We said we wanted this to be a little spread. And if you are new, and I'm just going to line that up from where it was now. If you are new and you haven't seen how our indicators work at NFA, the micro bear, micro bull indicator is one of my favorites. At the crosses is when it switches from bearish to bullish, because there's bears and bulls in all kinds of time frames in a bearish and a bullish market. And I try to buy the bellies and I try to sell the curves at the top. Now, in a bullish market, sometimes you don't get those curves, right? And this is where we talked about it didn't go bearish here, and it took off, didn't go bearish here, it took off. Here we did. The smaller we keep this and hold this line is actually a lot more strength for Bitcoin. And this is on the daily. And as we started the show, we said, hey, it's an important day because it's a fresh weekly candle. And for Bitcoin to finish its last week at its high back here, that actually shows strength. Even though we're in critical greed, stochastic saying it's probably going to come down. I've even saying, hey, we're probably going to have a little bit of retracement. People are going to take some profits out of the total market cap right now. I'm not following on top of the news as probably much as I should at the moment. There's probably either more threats or more bullshit going on. And I think it is kind of a little bit of a stalemate in terms of people's mood of finance in related to that, not in any other terms, not to have my words twisted there. On the 2 hour of Bitcoin, we can definitely see some nice comeuppance and pull down. Holding this line here on the 2 hour would be massive to go, and also towards the micro bullish close. I think we will get a little bit more retracement down. Just like I said, it'll probably dip down to these 68 or 64.8 levels. Somewhere in there, we'll probably see these wicks come to these wicks, but try to stay up on here, which is doing a good job of at the moment, giving us the trend to hopefully go up. When we were talking about this squiggle yesterday, we were saying we wanted to consolidate, possibly get a wick down here, but settle above here. And so far, it seems to be doing that, and healthy cooling. The panic has kind of cooled for the most part. And even the indicators are now starting to show that. When we were back up a bit, when we were reporting yesterday and we had that spread to the downward direction, trying to find it, it was right here. We didn't have that, and it was pointing down. And that's what I said, wait. Again, if you do have any questions or if you're in any tokens outside of our trade and want me to have a quick look after I go through them, just let me know in the comments. I can see them today. This white line here we're saying was probably going to be our next major resistance for Bitcoin, which is the 67,261. We'll have our pullback and probably bounce around in this range where it is now up to there. Ethereum caught both our entries from a while ago. We kind of laughed and called that a stink bid based on that wick way back when we put it in. And I mean, it caught and went back, and we're still down between these two entries on Ethereum, and it's having trouble right now breaking this weekly resistance at 3143.50. And that is important for Ethereum. If it cannot hold this, it will most likely pull back down. We need to see this line here, this belly curl. Right now, we don't have a curl. We have two lines in a micro bear bull position telling us price is going down. Stochastic is telling us we're in a buy position. Bollinger is telling us we're in a buy. It's a red candle out followed by a green in on the lower band. And we're still in the weekly consolidation box, the gold lines here with the purple. It probably goes back for the history of it. That's why it's probably so far. And then the other lines are support and resistance. So unfortunately, Ethereum doesn't look too healthy at the moment. Probably would get some entries above 3059, may even catch wicks, to be honest. I'd be holding off on Ethereum right now. I mentioned in our Discord, I got out of Ethereum up here based on all that TA, and it was a great time to exit when we rode that all the way up from January, and it pretty much followed our path. Right now, it's in this boring consolidation low wave box. And because I believe the attention is otherwise on other chains, that it's just not seeing its due. But I mean, even at this price and holding it for a while, it's going to do fine. Let's get into our trades that I've posted, and we were digging. We got a new weekly candle today, so I'm going to quickly have a relook at what we've been doing. On the weekly 1 inch is still saying there's a little bit of pain to come. We are going for the nice cup and handle formation on 1 inch. Our first major target is the 192%, which is the support and resistance in here. And this is a longer hold. And we've been trading in and out of this since January as well. We thought this here, because of our retest, we would catch some stinky wicks underneath the weekly support. And then, of course, the rest is what happened. Let's hide our drawings for a sec. So on the weekly, it does look like we might be getting a bearish cross and could come down to these levels. I think that's more just because of the dramatic movement of what has just happened. And there's been a lot of profit taken. I'm confident we'll probably hold in these areas. I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a spread in price here. I think we'll get a wick down, but we'll analyze that a little closer further now. I still think we are in fine with 1 inch long term. Now that we have A new weekly candle. If you don't know, I color code my lines. So a gold line, trend line like that is a weekly for me. So when I zoom in, any gold lines I know are weekly. The blue lines were 3 entries before the massive crash. Now we're looking for consolidation to re-enter with the amount that we entered up in here. We will ladder in the same money we put in here to dollar cost our entry to ride it back up to our short-term target of 6465. So we drew these, all the drawings are fresh yesterday. Now this is probably on a different timeline other than this belly, and that's what we wanted to see. And you can see it is starting to try to follow that. And we want to be always above this weekly support. It could easily come down. I think that'll make more sense. There it is. So we wanted to see this belly. Oh yeah, it's playing out right like we played it on the fours. Nice. I love this shit. So this is what I'm looking for. And this is how I wanted it to play out. I wanted the confirmation. We're already down from this entry on a great project that was a great position to enter for an upwards trend. So we could have, if we had, I typically, full disclosure, I don't typically use stop losses in bullish markets because of wick outs. A wick out can take you out, and then sometimes on the reversal, it's just nasty. And in a bullish market, worst case scenario, you do what's called round tripping. You just have to wait for your entries to come all the way back up, which then become resistance. They go down and then they go off. And all it does is tie up capital for that time. But if you play by strategy, because we know this can happen at any time in crypto, we now have the potential to buy the bottom for what we bought up in here, or double if you have the capital, and then you've dollar costed your entry and you're off to profits fairly quick. And that's what we're looking for now. And we typically do 3 bids around current, because sometimes in a bullish market, you can get caught on the sidelines looking for a perfect entry, and you can go, oh, I'll just wait for it to pull back a little bit. And then it just rockets and it never pulls back. So I've said on the show many times, you can just buy, if you're buying for long term, just buy in a red candle and hold. Doesn't mean that red candle that day is going to be the best time to buy it. If it's a long hold, that really doesn't matter, especially if you bought it during that. I like to swing trade. These trades that you've seen or are following that I posted in our Discord, I said will be for days, weeks, and possibly a couple of months, and have some nice considerable targets. And are good fundamental projects. The research has been done. They're fairly, for the worst use of the word, safe compared to many other projects. When I first started in crypto, there was only 9,000 cryptos, and I thought that was a lot at the time. Shitcoins and meme coins have taken this into the millions now. So I try to stay away from a lot of that. That being said, there is money to be made. I have made money, and a little later tonight when I do the hunt after these entries, I'll probably be looking at a few things. So here's an excellent example when we go down now to the lower time frame, and we can start to see how it's mellowed, and we're closing this gap off here. So yesterday around this time, we had just massive spread and gap, and we couldn't tell if the market was still going down or if it was going to consolidate, relax, and start to curl again. This is what I've been waiting for. This now is the retest to hold this to get into the bullish cross, to start to get up to this area for 1 inch. Ideally, yeah, this would have been a great spot to buy. But when you're already down, and did that work? And here's a great way to understand how these indicators work. So We have the market crash and it looks like it's starting to curl, but we have a lot of spread, and we know spread causes bigger price action. The lower these lines are spread, these two, hold on, I'll take off my Bollinger and make this even clearer for some people who've never seen this. The closer these two lines are, the lower the price action. The further these two lines are, the greater the price action. So if I'm looking at this here, just on price action and this one indicator, well, I am coming up to that belly that I like, but it's not quite there. In fact, I can still see that these might be going down. Critical fear hit, lots of up consolidation. This is kind of healthy. In fact, it's a wedge forming. But I don't have enough certainty. And I want to play with a little more certainty because we just had a big down. And this is what can happen right there. You can see, and I just quickly paused it again, it turned. And see, because they're so spread, that's price action. The reason I waited for these re-entries is because I've been through this fucking ringer before. This patience. And that's why I said before, part of the strategy, have money on hand and patience. Markets go down, markets go up. Everybody's there when the markets goes up to tell you how fucking great it is, what to do, what to buy. Where are they now? Even further, look how much they spread and they change. Now we're starting to see it cool, that leveling I like, I'm talking about. Now, this doesn't mean we can't still now sink right back down and replay this pattern. That's absolutely a possibility. We can start to do a little TA on a 2-hour time frame, our most localized high to here. This candle's a retest, and it really needs to get in the next 30, stay there or go off from here to go towards this bullish cross play out that we want it to do on the force. Actually lines up nicely with the 4. We'll leave it there. So, oh, I must be on 2 o'clock. I apologize. So on a retest, when we want to play smart, we're looking for this curl, the cross, and then up to our target from where we're at. A retest means it breaks the downward trend and it starts going the other direction. And we have our 1, 2, 3 touch. So this next candle in 2 hours and 26 minutes is going, well, I did it again. Is going to help us determine, are we going to move to the upwards direction? So I'm going to be checking back to make sure that's happening. I'll shave a little loss percentage in here to get that confirmation for it. And then I'll also put in a stink bid to catch a wick, to dollar cost these entries and go from there. So for right now on the 4 hour for 1 inch, I'm still going to wait just that little bit to give an entry. We may come into a sell dump. I expect a little bit of more red. It's how much. Will it hold this line and give us our entry here and then go, and this just keeps getting tighter, or what? But it's been following our trajectory so far pretty good. And I wouldn't call this the path from how it's going to go from here. I was more trying to do this a lot. So 1 inch, quite happy with that recovery. Going to be watching it closely. I'll be jumping in again. If you can't make it in again, I mean, any of these little wicks down here might be a decent spot for an entry. But I want to also kind of, wait for the world clock and the world news, if you know what I mean, and just see what's going on as well, so we don't get a major dip. This is an interesting one because I think sadly Crypto Katie couldn't make this show. She's out with her dad and family, and if you've been following, thoughts with him. She thought this might be presumptuous, and it seems to be kind of leveling in this curve where we wanted it to as well. Still in critical, coming up to a sell position in stochastic, still in quite amount of fear down below. Another one probably going to wait a little bit, but doing pretty good. I think we'd be safe anywhere, and we should be able to catch some wicks in this area a little bit below and go. But I think right now we're going to have a whole market of like a collective sigh, and on the total market cap, possibly just that little bit of pullback like I talked about. I'm going to switch to it. Sorry, I have a market cap on another monitor and just wanted to see. Thanks again for tuning in. If you ever do find this helpful, feel free to tweet and share. I don't make anything doing this. It's more to help people. Started doing this from my family and friends could learn what I do and join along. And if I've only helped a few, it makes it worth it. And I've ended up getting to meet and know a bunch of you, and it's been awesome. Same thing again for Algorand, really following. At this point here, we said it could easily just come down and hold this weekly because we were right here. We were in the middle of indecision, and now we can see we are holding this daily support. We've gone up, so we didn't FOMO buy up here. We're having a nice retracement. We'll probably get some in here. And I think stabilization in Algorand in here makes a lot of sense. And I think this play out is unlikely unless, of course, bad news in the next little bit and this goes down. But this seems to be stabilizing, correcting, and ready to go. And it seems to be right in the belly, right where I like a red candle, right in the belly. This is always what I'm looking for. That's what these were. And this is how we make up for that, as I've been saying before. Again, I'm going to give more precise entries, I believe, in probably another couple hours. Avalanche is a great example of compression breakout to the downside and the wrong side. Let's do weekly because we have a new weekly for this. Yeah, that is just gross. I mean, because that now has to come. Pivotal point could possibly be coming up to a bearish cross. I don't think it will. I think it's just normal pullback from a matching a cup and handle formation. Oh, not quite. We didn't quite make it up to the cup. That's why. This is another one we've been in since January. We've had a couple of nice pullbacks over time in the weeks, as you can see as well. Where was our January? Somewhere in here. Oh, that just hurt, that fall. But it did find its support, and it has found its resistance at the moment, which is at 36.99 roughly, a little bit higher on the daily, 37.43. interesting that that's the weekly and it's just trying to get above it and hold it. 4 hour, how are we looking? Starting to get it actually tightened better than we thought it would, and stay along here. So this is strength. This is good. It is saying in a sell position on a 4 hour, meaning it's going to come down. Makes sense. If you got a stink bid at 29, damn, if you got low 29s on AVAX, which should have been a no-brainer. I've been on the road so much. I mean, one day there's 26.5%, right? So understandably, there will be a little bit of pullback, but we're getting, like I said, that belly. We're playing smarter. This could have easily just continued down if it was more bad news today, just like it can now. So we're trying to minimize these risks. And then once we get these bellies of the bear, once we get into these and the narrowing, the next red candles where I like to buy as long as it's a higher low. And as long as this is a higher low, we'll continue hopefully to get the compression between the micro bear, micro bull indicator, get the cross, and then off to the races with a micro bull and then up. And continue our formation that we're trying to get to. With this, AVAX is a wonderful token. So much is built on it and a ton of gaming. This is going to do really well this bull run. Good entry. I mean, to get these prices, you know, you were back in some time, minus all lately. But just doing a quick overview. If I still have energy after this quick overview and it's looking like things are good, I might just restart and get those entries. I mean, that is still a lot of spread on the daily. There's a lot of wick up. Makes sense. We have a red out, green in for Bollinger. So this is actually a buy area for Bollinger. It is a buy area for stochastic. We have a lot of support and resistance in this area that it is in at the moment. How do we mark this one up? We did say, it's actually starting to look like it might play it a bit, that it needed to get above this weekly support and settle above it. That's what this was, and it clearly did, and it actually did better than we thought it was going to do. So that's actually healthy to see for Cello. Cello was another early January pick that we did ridiculous with, got out, and then just recently got back in again. So we can see here, interesting enough, this daily, which was support here, has definitely become resistance at that point, 811 or 8138. So we'll be really curious to see if the 7854 holds. It seems to. It's pulled up decent and is sitting right at the top of this here. It is in a crest. Is coming into a sell position, usually indicates price is coming down. Red candle, all that up would make sense. A little bit more of a better entry, some stink bids. But I think like everywhere else, Monday, 4 hours, if you just bought the fear, I mean, I don't even know what that lines up to. Wow. Look how long ago that was for support. February. Yeah, this was a heck of a ride for our Discord, for the trades on YouTube, for those that took it. This will be our new level entry area somewhere, as long as the, like I said, the news after this 4 hour candle goes good. And So far, it's making me happy. Dots. Let's jump on the weekly quickly. So our goal for DOT is up here. We have that marked for percentage. It's around 96%. It's had a healthy retracement. Also, again, from before. I've done very well with DOT many times. DOT's not going anywhere either. And it's in a weekly retest spot. Most likely our short-term target will be the top of this resistance here. We'll take profits from current price. To our localized resistance for the weekly is 45%. And this is a good trade. Now, on the weekly, we can see how this is curling and maybe possibly coming up to a bearish cross. It's because we've had so much down. And it absolutely makes sense. I know that was lined up on the daily. I'll switch it back in a sec. But you'll see even on a weekly here, this would have been our, if we do wicks to wicks, so nah, never mind. What we drew, how we wanted it to kind of level out, and we said it needs to hold this weekly support where we drew that white line. Now I'm saying, you know, if it can hold this daily support, that would be great. Anywhere in here-ish, we'll probably get some wicks into this wick area. I'd be looking. We should be getting into some nice entries. We have a red out, green in by Bollinger. It's holding the weekly support or trend down. It's above it. That's healthy. Buy sign on stochastic on the daily. Yeah, lots of up in the last little bit. These are the red candles of the belly that we get excited about on the 4 hour. So its top profit was 22% in the last day. This is where people make the money. It takes a lot of balls to buy fear, for lack of a better word, sorry. But, you know, if you bought fear a few times, you know, and this is where strategy comes, you would have to buy it again here to be making the money. And this is why I wanted to wait for the compression in the belly versus big spread to ensure that when we do rebuy at this opportunity, we're making money from here on out. So DOT looking like it's in a healthy position of where we want it to be. I'm going to move that up to there's where we really want it to be able to hold now, because it will be a higher low. It's already higher here, but here's our low candle, right? DOT. Phantom. I mean, starting to sound a little bit like a broken record. It's not going up as fast, but it's consolidating right where we wanted it to consolidate. It had its breakout retest. It's fighting to save the this 6859 support, and then resistance of where it was here. It's coming up too soon to a sell. Yeah, looking good. Like we'll get a couple of entries, I think, in today. Yeah, that's looking healthy. Oh shit, there's 22 of you guys here. Welcome. Happy Sunday. Hope you got a chance to touch or smoke grass or do whatever it is you do. And step away from the charts and not panic, or hopefully not do anything stupid. But if you did, hey, fuck, we've all made dumb mistakes. Wow, this definitely curled a lot, held a lot harder. So this shows you the power of an ecosystem. I mean, we hit a lot of what we thought was going to happen with 7 of these trades so far. And this is one where we were off by a mile on the recovery. It's already at its localized resistance of its back here pulling down, which is healthy. This just goes to show you how strong fetch is. Very bullish sign on that. Is in a sell, meaning come down, but yeah, makes sense. That's, what was this recovery? This is incredible. 41% in a day to pull back. That makes sense. I missed this belly here on the last one. That's all right. That's what I mean. You'll never time the perfect one. This one took off faster. We will have a little bit of price to pull back, I think, into this area. I mean, look where the wick was. We could zoom in even closer on the ones. In a sell position in the ones up high would make sense. That would be back down into the 2-1-2s. Filecoin, another one we've been in since early this year. This is a perfect example. Again, what we've been talking about. We want to see that belly consolidation before we go. And I mean, another example of it did better than we thought. I'll move it back, but it's pretty much the same, formation here to some extent. So that's healthy. That's nice to see. That's what we were wanting to see. It's just doing it a little better, faster. Hopefully we'll hold this. We could zoom in to see how it's doing for that. Micro bull, pull back, holding over there. That's, we'll come back down a bit and probably into this area. People taking profits and go. If you're ever concerned, or if you're starting to see these as good entries and you weren't in the market, this whole trading series that these tokens are in were based on buy the current price and 3 entries. Because sometimes, as we mentioned earlier, if you're standing on the sidelines, you might miss it. And go through it. Appreciate the TA, Trader Blue. Appreciate you, brother. It's just my squiggles, my lines, my squiggles, and what's going on in my head. And hopefully we can do some sensible trading together, They're H bar. And again, if anybody does have any token they want me to quickly look, I've only got a few left. Figured it would take about an hour. If I could take a look at Soul. Trader Blue, you're always retweeting and doing shit for us and active in the Discord. For you, absolutely. We'll do Soul at the end of this. 4-hour H bar. I mean, does it get any more what we were looking for in terms of consolidation? Maybe a wick down, which it didn't do. It held this line. Nice healthy up, nice healthy belly, pull back from the up. These are the kind of entries we're looking for. And it's like literally just holding its daily support at 8.3, at 8.29 at the moment. So to re-enter in a lot of these positions right now is looking like common sense, for lack of better words. And we're going to make up for that 20%. So in times of uncertainty, if we know, say, we have 4 positions of entry here at 4K, um, do we want to go 4K in right now? Do we want to ladder in two and see what happens? That's all up to your risk tolerance, because like we said, bad news can easily just send these right down to these next support and resistance levels, and we'll probably obviously hit them on the way up, here, where our original entries were. So I'm confident we are under the we're over the fear. We're over the sky is falling, the chicken littles. I do want to give it probably about another 4 hours. And if that means I get a little more green, I lose a little bit, I'd rather that 2 to 4. You'll see. I'll post it in the Discord and another, or I'll take shots and post it. But I will be doing another hunt stream later, because I am my belief. This has been a healthy reset of the market. For right now, to get some good entries and make some good gains. We're still in a very much a bullish trending market, doing exactly what we wanted. So this is confluence when our technical analysis and our indicators are aligning, and they're never going to be perfect, hence why they dropped, but that's where strategy comes in. Align all those things together, and it really minimizes these. Oh, this is a healthy mess. What is that? Oh, Chainlink wasn't looking good, right? So we weren't sure where to look. And here it is on the daily. And we wanted to see the belly and a down, possibly a wick to here in this level, and then get above the weekly to hold that weekly support so it doesn't become resistance. Right now it is on the daily clearly resistance. On the 4-hour, starting to get that belly though. Coming up to a sell possibly. It's all the news everywhere. Is it over for the Bitcoin run? Oh God, I love this kind of stuff. Nearly 1 billion liquidated. Yeah, if you're doing massive greed, that's greed. And that's why the fear and greed index got reset. And that's healthy. There's no reason. I mean, you can do a little small percentage of your budgets with leverage. But to do your portfolio and leverage is gambling, in my opinion. I would rather spot trade reasonably, and then you don't get liquidated over evening. And I have far too many friends that have lost too much money. Yeah, Link's looking like we're coming into healthy entries as well. Telcoin, I'm going to skip. I mean, it wasn't available on the exchange, so I admitted that and didn't buy it. It seems to be holding this level where it is. We said it needed to hold that bottom wick, which was this candle here. If you're in, starting to look like a belly. Just in case you got in, I'll do a quick 4-hour for whoever did. Yeah, you can see, look at this consolidation area in here, holding that strength, that wick up strength, a lot of strength to get that high, and holding this level of resistance, possibly as support for the next little bit. Nice belly, probably looking at a re-entry on a lower time frame and some red in probably a few hours to maximize your walk back up. So if you did get into Tel, I'm a big believer in. That'll be, I think, is a silent sleeper. I'll probably load some bags on that. That's what the stream later will be, is some of these silent sleepers that got punished with that, where we're just going to buy and forget about them. Sometimes those are my best bags. I don't put a lot in them. I did a post earlier in the year. I bought a bag of Pepe coin eons ago. And then, of course, Pepe coin, people are now starting to learn its provenance, and it's been ripping. Um, Again, I mean, can't make this up, man. Like it's following what we wanted it to do. This is the situation I looked for. The red candle down after that for the retest of the higher low, um, and and go. So Tila is, and also a lot faster and healthier than a couple others. So I would probably be a little more bullish on my entry at this target since we've lost down here. Trying to dollar cost entry our 3 entries there. It's next. Looks like it's doing exactly what we said too. Nice. We said worst case scenario, if it did not hold this line, it would need to hold this one and then possibly consolidate underneath it. But we wanted to see this belly here. And clearly we are now above. It's more like that of a thing. Get rid of that. But we are in the position of an entry here, red out of Bollinger, green into Bollinger. We're an entry in stochastic. We're starting to see a belly. We might have a little bit more of a pull down into this area. A little bit. Same thing. Let's look at this on the 4s. Yeah, lots of up in this last little bit. So a little retracement is normal, healthy, and expected. 25 up in a day. And these are where these big opportunities can come in. I used to trade a lot of these wicks. I don't do it a lot now because it is stressful. And then you're constantly wondering, are you going to have to buy again down here because of more black swan? I kind of like this style of just, smooth, mellow bellies, take some time, play smart, get bigger returns. Not bigger returns in the sense of all percentages, but bigger returns of like free time, life, less stress, and still getting good returns. All right. There was a request for Soul. If anybody else has any other requests, now is the time. This is just one list of many I do have. I've shared some of them before. I'm going to be going through my master list to see where we are in terms of some juicy entries. All right. Since today's a big day, it's a new weekly candle. Some of my favorite. Let's mark up Soul from scratch. I always like to do my TA with no indicators on first because I like to use the indicators for confluence. If the indicators give me the same answers as my technical analysis, it gives me a pretty good, healthy indication, I think, of what's happening in the market. And it's a little weird how some of this shit just always kind of lines up. Go that tall. Sometimes it's just quick and dirty. It's just about splitting the little differences. Give you an idea of what this consolidation box spread is. around 46, 47%. I mean, that wick all the way down to, and where it's at right now is support and resistance on the weekly, which is no big surprise right there. Let's go on the daily. Interesting. So we sold in the Discord, we sold the top of Ethereum and bought into Sol. I believe it was the 169, and then we wrote it and then got out of Sol. We did the degen bin 169 to 420, somewhere in here. And then we wrote it to here and then got out. No, parallel channel, that shit. Gross. Look at those wicks there. Interesting. Huh. Body to the median. Wicks almost all to the median. Body to the median, but that wick right down to the bottom of that channel. Obviously in a retest right now. Let's get that on a daily channel so we don't get confused. Let's get some daily support and resistance. See our steps of where it makes sense. Let's lock that in for a sec. There's not much around where you're at for support and resistance. Go back to the past, because I guarantee you it's probably there. That's probably. See what it's saying. I mean, it's fighting right now this weekly support at what is that? 148.87. And if it doesn't hold this, it's good chance it's going to come down to the daily. My 2 cents, not financial advice. Fuck, of course, pubs say that more often. It is starting. I mean, there is still a lot of spread. Now, the big red back, too much surprise, because, I mean, did Sol really go down all the way to 116? Jesus Christ. If you know me, you know I hate this blockchain. 31.77, 27 though. Like, you don't love it, don't hate it, just trade it, right? Like, there's some good money to be made. Oh yeah, we did have some healthy up, not even on from the day, but also just the last little bit, a little pullback. Really needs to hold the area it's in and continue to go. It is almost on a 4-hour and a sell position, indicating more, a little more downturn in price. 2-hour, you're coming up to your bullish cross, and fighting that weekly support or resistance at this moment. So the bullish cross is coming. I like when you get all the up, you get into this position. I typically like this part here. When we're in the belly, this is a gross one, and I like them on 4 hours, not on 2. We still got lots of spread, which could mean wicks down to this level. And it's indicating it's coming there for more pain. Daily in a buy, that doesn't mean it's not going to come out because it's got 21 hours left. Doesn't mean we're not going to have a buy as we've had for, look how long it's been telling you to buy on the daily on stochastic. So take that. Always take stochastic with a grain of salt. I love our micro bear, micro bull. I wait for the curve. I mean, always buying these on strategy. If you just kept stockpiling critical fear and held, it always pays off on the long term. Not sure if you're short trading this trade, you're blue, or if you need to dollar cost entry. But yeah, coming into a buy, and I imagine a short-term goal would be that 180. And it looks like your next weekly resistance from where it's fighting. From there, your next weekly is about 22%. Does that answer all your questions, bud? Have any more direct? I'm gonna say no because I see a thank you, appreciate it. Pleasure. I am going to come back on in a little bit and just see how these next red downs. This is where I've been looking for the entries. This is where patience does pay. Because we expect now in these next 2-4 hours a little bit of downturn just because of all the up we've had in the last day. And we're in that belly of the momentum of the bear trying to get into, how did I just get it in theory? My bad. Trying to get into this bullish, micro bullish cross so we can get back into more money into the total market cap. We have been, and we've drawn this blue rectangle, I don't know how long ago, just still looking like we're going to the top, the bottom, the top, the bottom. If this is the sideways action, we end up taking these W's for the next 6 to 8 months. That's not so bad. We'll learn to see how they play it. When they do the real big dips like this sucks. But when they happen, let's make sure they happen for sensible reasons. We know we had the first all-time high, the record break all-time high candle close on Bitcoin. And we had the guy that saved all his Bitcoins and goaded his way out. Then we had the local high, and then now we've had, sadly, missiles and drones. So I think the fear, for the most part, has been shaken out of the market. We have had some tremendous recovery since this time yesterday, and this is what we were hoping for and looking for. So now I think in these next couple of candles, we should get some nice slight retracements for re-entry to go. The next show a little later tonight, I'm going to go for dinner, and then I'll come back. We'll give the actual price entries of what I'm going to get into on the coins that we're following in our Discord, the 1-inch of Algorand AVAX, CeeLo, Dot, Phantom, Fetch, Filecoin, Hedera, Chainlink, Telos, and SNX. And then we'll look to see what other juicy potential is laying out there that we may have now because of the last couple of days. So Again, I'm a talking monkey on the internet. Do your own research, and make sure you're always playing with money you can afford to wipe your ass with. If I can teach you anything, that there alone is everything, because you will not make good trading decisions if you are under emotion and or stress. Um, and managing these downs comes from experience in the market, comes from understanding that these will happen and they will happen again. There's always another reason for a quick downturn in crypto. So it's being ready to play them out and play them out smartly. So I hope that helped. Confluence is what I'm going to end on. It is when, confluence is when your tools, your technical analysis line up. And when I said I like to do all the technical analysis first and then put the indicators on, because if my TA says this is what I think is going to happen and I flash on the indicators and it all lines up, fuck yeah, I'm in. And the more those tools we have line up together to give you the same info, that's confluence.